So today, of course, we have to talk about the big news, which is that Chamber on the PBE, the public beta environment, or the test server, if you will, is getting changed on that server, which means it's very likely that these changes will come into Valorant and go live as well, unless it's some like major problem they discover, going on with it. It should become live in the next patch. So these changes are going to make a big difference, I think. So let's just dive straight into it. And of course, we will be mostly talking about Chamber. There are some other changes we'll talk about as well, but let's just dive straight in. And the first thing is they just talk about, Chamber's overall power has felt outsized. We all know that. We don't need to explain like why are they nerfing Chamber, right? We all know why they're nerfing Chamber. He's too good. So let's start off with the Rendezvous, which base cooldown increased from 20 to 30 seconds, and also the recall cooldown increased from 20 to 30 seconds as well. This one just always made sense. It never really made sense at all to have Chamber be 20 seconds when like everyone else in the game doesn't have that ability. And everyone else's cooldowns is longer than that. It just didn't really make sense from a design standpoint. Forget the balance side of it, just a design standpoint. I think that this honestly is more of a design change than it is a balance change overall, because whilst this will affect the balance slightly, I don't think there are too many situations where, it being 20 to 30 seconds will make that big of a deal, right? Like the first kill that Chamber can get and TP away, that's still going to be there, right? So balance-wise, I don't think this will be like the craziest change. There might be, little instances that you notice it every now and again. But I think this is more of a design change, to be honest. That just doesn't make sense to have one agent, have a much less cooldown than the other. So it definitely makes sense to change this, and it also makes this next change as well makes a lot of sense. The cooldown set to 45 seconds whenever a rendezvous is destroyed. One, it gives you a reason to actually destroy it, because before there wasn't too much reason and you would give away your position. So now there actually is a reason to potentially destroy the rendezvous anchor. And the second thing is, again, from a design standpoint, this just makes sense. And I can't believe that this wasn't already in the game. It seems like a bit of an oversight, to be honest, design-wise, because every other Sentinel in the game, if you destroy a Killjoy turret or a Cypher Cam, it takes 45 seconds to get it back. So why, when I destroy Chamber's free ability, does it only take 20? Doesn't make any sense, really, does it? And again, this won't make like a massive difference, I don't think. Because a good Chamber player will be recalling, the anchors anyway most of the time. So I don't think this is going to make a massive difference again. But again, from a design standpoint, it just makes a lot more sense to have it this way than it was previously before. And then the radius size is decreased from 21 to 15 meters. Now, I saw a tweet that this is not the range of the teleports, like the range from one to the other that you can place them. This is about the radius size of where Chamber can TP from. So that circle that Chamber has to be within to actually use the teleport is now smaller. So you perhaps have to be, a bit more careful or a bit more selective with where you are choosing to place your rendezvous. This might impact some certain angles, right? Where if you put them in like a corner, you can go to potentially a different corner, and it just bridges a gap where you can stand in a little bit of the map or whatever. It's probable that will be the case, where there are some angles now where, common rendezvous anchor points that won't quite work as well, because, the size might just be a bit too small now. So we'll have to see which ones that impacts. Off the top of my head, I have no idea which one it will, but I'm sure it will impact some of them, which, might be a bit of a nerf to Chamber on certain maps, but not be as big of a deal on others, but we'll have to see. The next thing is that the trademark slow duration, so that when it actually goes off, is going from 9.5 to 6 seconds. You definitely will notice this one, because 3.5 seconds is a long time. So this one, I'm sure, you will notice, and obviously is a bit of a nerf. Will it change, things too much? Again, I'm not sure that is the case when it comes to the slow duration of the trademark, because oftentimes they get destroyed, particularly at higher levels of play. They don't go off super often anyway, because you can hear them pretty easily now as well. So this again won't be like a massive change on its own, but it is like a nice little thing to just be added on as well. And then we come to the tour de force, right, where the ult point is going from 7 to 8, and the slow duration is also going from 9.5 to 6 seconds. This is a big change, and I think you will notice these changes, right? Obviously the ult point's going from 7 to 8. Makes sense. I always thought that this was a likely outcome anyway. It's a very strong ult. You need to nerf this agent, and I think, the ult points is just a very easy, thing that the devs can do to easily nerf an agent and know, nothing's going to break in the game if we just change this number from 7 to 8. It's just going to make the agent slightly worse. And so I think that is a very good change. And the slow duration as well. Yeah, I think, again, you will notice this. Maybe there'll be less times where, you get a kill from a tour de force and it's just like round over sometimes because, you were planning on quickly rushing towards a certain site. Chamber gets a kill with a tour de force, and your whole team is just stuck there forever, and you can't move. That, was a problem and has been a problem for quite a while. So, maybe this will help in those situations as well. And then finally, the Headhunter is going from a bullet cost increase of 100 to 150. Now, this is going to be big. Obviously, pistol rounds, you have to really think about how that's going to impact the pistol rounds and what exactly you want to do. Often you will want to be buying a trademark, so that means that you can only buy 4 bullets now rather than 6. So I think that, that will kind of become standard where you buy a trademark and 4 bullets. Obviously, that is a bit of a nerf, right? If you only have 4 instead of 6 bullets, that will be an impact on those rounds. And then obviously for eco rounds as well, and just the general economy of the game, Chamber, will feel this impact a bit. And as they say here, it's about just making the economic decisions a bit more difficult overall. And so let's talk about like all the changes together, because I don't think that any one of these changes on its own is like massive, right? If they just would have done like 1 or 2 of these things, I would have been like, ooh, I'm not sure this is enough. But with all of it added together, right? With all of like, just like small nerfs in each area of the agent, I think that overall this will come as like, a big enough package to, limit Chamber as an agent, right? He still, I think, will be good. And the reason I think Chamber will still be good is he still has something that is very unique and very powerful in the game, right? As long as his first ability, his rendezvous, which I guess did change slightly with the radius size. This one does impact that first teleport away. But he still probably will be able to do it in most scenarios. And I think as long as that is the case, then Chamber will have a good place in the game because his relationship with the Operator is a unique one, and the Operator is a unique weapon in Valorant as well. So he will still be powerful, and there will still be good uses for Chamber, particularly, at higher levels of play with very good Operator, players. You will be able to still find a lot of value from Chamber overall, I think. But on the whole, I think that now Chamber clearly has, downsides. There's clearly weaknesses to Chamber now that, might make you want to pick something else, particularly on certain maps. And I think that is the big thing, right? That I made a video about what the best team comps I thought were on each map, and I had Chamber in every single one. Now I'm hoping that, with these kind of changes, that would change, right? That on, maybe some of Killjoy's best maps or Cypher's best maps, that, they could, find a place instead of Chamber on those maps, and, we'd have a bit more of a balanced Sentinel meta. Now let's come to the ability regional damage breakup, which I think, again, is more of a design decision, but it is going to have big balance impacts on the game. I think it makes sense to, reward headshot versus a leg shot, right? That's exactly what they're saying here. It makes sense, right? Why am I being, not rewarded for being good at the game and hitting someone in the head with an ability? It makes sense. So the big one is Neon, because Neon's damage per shot is being reduced from 22 to 18. The kill zone, which I think means the damage fall off range, is going from 15 to 20, so that's a slight buff. The leg shot is going to have a negative multiplier like it does for guns, but the headshot is going to have a 3 times multiplier. This is a massive deal for a Neon ult. That means if you get 3 headshots, right, that'll be 54 damage. So if you get 3 headshots with a Neon ult now, they are dead. Straight up. Full shields, dead. Which is a big deal. Particularly at the highest levels of play, obviously, where, players are better. That is going to be a massive change to the Neon ult, and in my opinion, this will make the Neon ult more like a Chamber or Jet ult, where you go, oh, I don't need to buy this round. I've got my ult, this round. I don't need to buy. Whereas in like pro play or top level play, a Neon ult isn't really seen like that. It's more kind of seen as like a gimmick that maybe you do on a save and hope to find some value from. But now I think it will be seen in the same class as a Jet or a Chamber ult, because getting 3 headshots with a Neon ult, I think the top best players in the world will be able to do that somewhat consistently, and it's going to make it a big threat, particularly as you're just zooming around and running around as Neon as well and sliding everywhere. it's going to become a real force to be reckoned with, this Neon ult now, and the best players in the world, I think, will be able to punish people pretty hard for it as well. And then also, they have done the thing with Chamber and Jet as well, that they have leg shot multiplayers now as well, which, again, just makes sense as a game, to be honest, and probably should have always been the case. So yeah, design decision that makes a lot of sense, but I think for Neon this is going to be a big deal as well, and I think at top level play we might start seeing more Neon, because this is going to be a big deal. And so that was just my opinions. I'd be very interested in hearing what you guys think in the comments down below as well. I'm sure many of you have your opinions on this, but I think overall these changes will be pretty good. They'll definitely be welcomed, particularly regarding Chamber, and I think they'll have a big impact both on pro and ranked play.